Chapter 11. At 7 o'clock in the evening, Chen Haoxian and Chen Yuna arrived at Huang Weikan's house on time, ringing the doorbell. This time it was Chen Haoxian who rang the doorbell. It must be Brother Xian coming. Before the door even opened, the joyful voice of Huang Meilin was heard from inside. When the door opened, Chen Haoxian saw a group of girls standing at the door, all of them looking at him with strange eyes. "Lin Lin, is this your home? I'm not going the wrong way, am I?" Chen Haoxian questioned. "Brother Xian, you're not going wrong, come in quickly." Huang Meilin enthusiastically pulled Chen Haoxian's walk into the house. Li Yuzhen saw Chen Haoxian and Chen Yuna coming, stood up and greeted with a smile, "You guys are here. Sit down quickly, eat some fruit first before teaching them." Chen Haoxian was not rude. Sitting on the sofa with his legs crossed, he picked up an orange on the table and peeled it, then gave half of it to Chen Yuna. As he ate the orange, Chen Haoxian asked Li Yuzhen, "Are you guys having a party?" Li Yuzhen covered her mouth and laughed, he, no la. Actually they all came here because they wanted to see you." "Ugh dash, who let you be so handsome for nothing, you see charmed these little girls." "Gah. This is that Specifically to see how handsome he is, as if he were a rare animal." "Lin, he's really handsome yay." One of Huang Meilin's female classmates whispered to her. "That's right, would I let him be my tutor if he wasn't handsome?" Huang Meilin smiled proudly. She spoke in a small voice. She was also afraid of being overheard by Chen Haoxian. "Lin, do you know how old he is?" Another female student asked Huang Meilin. "I didn't ask, but he doesn't look too big, and like him, isn't he perfect for us? My mother and the others say that when looking for a boyfriend or husband, it's best to look for someone older than yourself, because the older ones will take care of people." Huang Meilin told her classmates, but her eyes were on Chen Haoxian as she spoke. "How am I supposed to teach when they're all here?" Chen Haoxian asked Li Yuzhen. Huang Meilin answered before anyone else and said coquettishly, "Let's teach together then. They're all rich anyway." After saying, Huang Meilin turned her head to her classmate, "Right. We're willing to pay 500 RMB an hour just like Lin." Huang Meilin's classmates spoke out in agreement. Looking at their clothes, they could also judge that they were children of wealthy families. 500 RMB an hour for one person. There are 5 of Huang Meilin's classmates, plus Huang Meilin herself, that's 6 people, then Chen Haoxian can earn 3000 RMB an hour. Wow dash, this kind of treatment is not generally high. To Chen Haoxian, who was very short of money, this was like sending charcoal in snow. "I'm fine with it, but you guys better talk to your families, so that you don't have to go back so late and think that something happened to you," Chen Haoxian kindly suggested. "No problem." Huang Meilin's classmates all pulled out their cell phones to call their families. It made Chen Haoxian feel ashamed to see that all of these middle school students had their cell phones with them, and he didn't even have one yet. After a while, all of Huang Meilin's classmates had already talked to their families, and their families had agreed that they would take piano lessons with Huang Meilin, and it was thanks to them saying that Chen Haoxian played the piano better than a piano master, otherwise why would it be so expensive? Chen Haoxian stood up and said to Huang Meilin and the others, "If there's nothing else, let's begin." "Yeah." A young girl full of vivacity bounced around and followed Chen Haoxian to Huang Meilin's room. Yuna Chen took an envious glance at Chen Haoxian, then turned her head to Huang's Haifeng and said, "Let's go study too." Huang's Haifeng squeaked, "Sister Nana, I also want to learn to play the piano with my sister." He didn't like fidgeting with his studies, he liked to be lively. Li Yuzhen raised her hand and gave his son a chestnut, squealing, "If your grades are as good as your sister's, I don't care what you do, now go to your room and study your homework." Preferring girls over boys, huh? Huang's Haifeng muttered quietly as he walked towards his room. Inside Huang Meilin's room, Huang Meilin's classmates were all sitting together on the sofa in the room, all of them looking at Chen Hoxuan like curious babies. I'm going to teach you guys how to play a song called Heartbreak today. I'll play it once and then I'll teach you guys. Chen Haoxian said. Hearing that Chen Haoxian was going to play the piano again, Li Yuzhen hurried into her daughter's room and sat on the bed, waiting with an excited face for Chen Haoxian to play. She had to admit that Chen Haoxian was particularly handsome when he played the piano, and the piano he played was particularly beautiful, so it could be said that watching Chen Haoxian play the piano was a pleasure. The beautiful sound of the piano resounded again, and this time Chen Haoxian's fingers were like slow dancing on the piano keys. The people who listened to Chen Haoxian play the piano felt that Chen Haoxian was the master of them, happy if they wanted to make them happy, sad if they wanted to make them sad. Chen Haoxian played the piano beautifully, but instead of smiling, Huang Meilin and the others had mist in their eyes, all because Chen Haoxian's piano sound was too sad. After playing a song called Sadness, Chen Hoxuan noticed that Huang Meilin's and their eyes were red. It seemed that women were right that they were emotional creatures. If you want to play an effect like mine, it's actually very simple. You just need to play it according to your own feelings and adjust your emotions to sadness when you play it, Chen Haoxian preached. That's really nice, can you play another one? Li Yuzhen looked as if she had an afterthought and spoke out. Yeah, right. Brother Hen, please play one more song. And we want to hear it. Huang Meilin also spoke up. But I'm here to teach you how to play the piano, not to play the piano for you. Chen Haoxian Dao, receiving so much money from other people but not teaching anything, this would make him feel embarrassed. Oh, look at me, I'm lost listening to your violin. Then I won't listen, you teach them. I'll make some coffee for you. Li Yuzhen awkwardly stood up. She already knew that Chen Hoxuan liked coffee during yesterday. Thank you. Chen Haoxian thanked her. After Li Yuzhen went out, Chen Haoxian began to teach Huang Meilin and the others how to play the piano. Chen Haoxian taught in a very interesting way, which made Huang Meilin and the others listen to Chen Haoxian's lecture very carefully. By 10 o'clock, Huang Meilin and the girls had basically learned the song Heartbreak that Chen had taught them to play. Li Yuzhen was there while Chen Haoxian was teaching, and Li Yuzhen was amazed at Chen Haoxian's teaching method. It was very different, but very easy to use, and what he taught, he understood right away, which made Li Yuzhen very happy to have someone like Chen Haoxian to teach her daughter how to play the piano. Chapter 12. All of Huang Meilin's classmates didn't have that much cash with them, so they all borrowed from Li Yuzhen, who also didn't have that much cash, so she used online banking to transfer 9,000 RMB to Chen Haoxian's bank card. As for Chen Yuna's directly giving cash, because it was only 300 yuan. Chen Haoxian made a total of 9,000 RMB today. He was very happy, although the money was not enough, but he could buy some first. It would be enough to wait until tomorrow when he would go on as a tutor for a day, and then he would be able to get Chen Yuna back to her handsome appearance. As soon as he left the apartment, Chen Haoxian said to Chen Yuna, "Nana, you go home by yourself, I'll go buy something first." Chen Hoxuan was trying to give Chen Yuna a surprise. I can't go." Chen Yuna looked at Chen Hoxuan with expectant eyes. "It's inconvenient to bring your man's things with you, you know." Chen Haoxian lied. Hearing Chen Hoxuan's words, Chen Yuna didn't know what she was thinking. Her face flushed as she said delicately, "Then you come back early." "Well, you go first." "I'll be back soon." Chen Haoxian nodded. Chen Haoxian went to a large pharmacy and purchased greenwood fragrance, white cohosh, white wax, Dahurian angelica, dangui, chuanxiang, and astragalus. Chen Haoxian bought so many medicines that the doctor in the pharmacy suspected Chen Haoxian was trying to do something bad, causing Chen Haoxian to explain for a long time and name the uses and functions. Before that, doctor sold the medicine to Chen Haoxian. When Chen Haoxian left, That doctor also gave Chen Haoxian a business card and said that if Chen Haoxian really produced a beauty product that could cure acne, he would give him a call. Out of the way, get out of the way. A boy dressed in floral green ran quickly, pushing aside some passers-by who were blocking his path from time to time. There was a group of similarly dressed flowery green people chasing after that boy behind him, holding iron rods and machetes and other weapons in their hands. Yang Lin, you bastard, don't run if you can. Mother asterisker, you think I'm an idiot? There are so many of you, even immortals would be cut down by you. Yang Lin cursed without turning back. He regretted not bringing his group of buddies with him, otherwise it wouldn't have been so bad. Woo dash, the sound of motorcycles, 3 motorcycles driving very fast, zzz dash, the sound of brakes, 3 motorcycles blocked Yang Lin's way. A bald man on the motorcycle shouted at Yang Lin, run. Why don't you run? See if you're faster or my motorcycle is faster. Baldy, we're all on the road, so give us some face, okay? Yang Lin had a bitter face. Give you face, who do you think you are? When I came out here, you kid was playing in the mud somewhere. If you spoil my elegance today, I'll break your arms and legs. The bald head sneered at Yang Lin. Chen Haoxian carried 2 bags of stuff and stood in front of the pharmacy watching the fun. He hadn't seen this kind of 21st century gangster firefight before. He wondered if there would be a firefight to the point of bloodshed. Yang Lin regretted being a hero. He messed with Baldhead because when he was playing at the bar, he saw Baldhead flirting with a waitress. Hot-bloodedly he stood up and fought with Baldhead without saying a word. He thought that Baldur was alone, but he didn't expect his other boys to be dancing, and as a result, Baldur yelled and a dozen or so thugs came rushing at him at once. Yang Lin's eyes looked around. He hoped to find a way to escape. Suddenly he saw Chen Haoxian in front of the pharmacy. He was a student of the University of Xinshan City. Chen Haoxian, so famous, of course he recognized. He shouted loudly to Chen Haoxian, Chen Haoxian, help me, call the police, someone wants to kill me. Chen Haoxian was stunned, and thought to himself that this person knows me. Is it a good friend of the former Chan Hoihin? The actual fact that you'll be able to get a lot more than just a few of them is the fact that you'll be able to get a lot more than just a few of them. The first thing you need to do is to take a look at the newest products that you can find in the marketplace. The first thing you need to know is that you can't be sure that you're not going to be able to do anything about it. It's still true to rely on yourself. Chen Haoxian was carrying a small bag of flour. He drilled a hole underneath the bag and then rushed towards Yang Lin. After running to Yang Lin's side, Chen Haoxian pulled Yang Lin behind him with his left hand and then swung his right hand with the bag. The flour in the bag suddenly flew in the sky, which made the thugs unable to see what was in front of them for a moment, and they didn't dare to open their eyes because they thought it was lime. When the flour in the air dissipated, Yang Lin's figure was already nowhere to be seen. Where's Yang Lin? Where did he run off to? And don't ever go back until you find him. Baldy roared furiously when he found out that Yang Lin had disappeared. When Chen Haoxian and Yang Lin ran out of the crowd, they got on a bus, where Yang Lin bullishly said to Chen Haoxian, you saved me today, you'll be my brother Yang Lin from now on. If anyone bullies you, you tell me and I'll cut him down. This method of thanking him seemed a bit different. So I'm not familiar with you. Chen Haoxian exclaimed in shock. He thought he was familiar with him, Yang Lin. I didn't think it was that at all, people just knew his name. Hey, man, you're out of line if you say that. I wasn't familiar with you before, but now you and I are like worshipping brothers drinking chicken blood. Yang Lin chuckled. Then how did you know my name? Chen Haoxian asked curiously. I'm also a student at the University of New City. I'm a junior, in the journalism department. You're a celebrity in our school, and I can say that there isn't a single person who doesn't know your name, and if you weren't a bit of that, I'm sure you'd be the man of the hour at Xinshan Mountain University. Yang Lin explained. So that's how it is, I'm leaving then, my stuff is still in the supermarket. Chen Haoxian stood up. Hey, don't go, those thugs probably haven't left yet, or I'll ask someone to go get it for you. Yang Lin was worried. No need, it's just a few punks, I haven't put it on the front burner yet. Chen Haoxian faded. Master, stop the car. Chen Haoxian shouted loudly. When he got off the bus and took the bus back, Chen Haoxian arrived at the place where Yang Lin had just had a firefight with those thugs and found that the thugs had all left. Chen Haoxian went into the supermarket and bought some delicious lollipops. Lollipops were Chen Yuna's favorite, so this was specially bought for Chen Yuna to eat. Then Chen Haoxian took out the things he had saved before going home. Chapter 13. The next morning, in the classroom, Chen Haoxian and Chen Yuna was chatting happily, but was interrupted by someone. The door of the 8th class was kicked open. Yang Lin put his hands in his pockets, and walked into the podium. He was followed by 5 students. These 5 students at a glance know that they are delinquents, because their temperament and expression has indicated their identity. Only Yang Lin didn't know what kind of nerves he was having, but he suddenly raised his hand high up and slammed it into the podium with a crackling sound, not knowing if he was swatting flies or not. Listen up, all of you, if anyone dares to bully Chen Haoxian in the future, don't blame me for being ruthless, because Chen Haoxian is my brother, do you hear me? Yang Lin bullishly bellowed. No one answered, and no one made a sound. Xinshan City University had a few well-known thugs, including Yang Lin. Yang Lin's younger brothers didn't have as many as Zhu Tian, but those few younger brothers of Yang Lin's were from the karate club, so it wouldn't be a problem for one to fight a few. Even if Zhu Tian was in front of Yang Lin, he still had to speak in a low voice. After Yang Lin finished speaking, he walked towards Chen Haoxian with his little brother. He sat on his butt next to Chen Haoxian, patted Chen Haoxian's shoulder and smiled to Chen Haoxian. Good morning, brother. Chen Haoxian cried and laughed. You don't have to be like this anymore, you can be embarrassed, but you don't want to pull me up. That's what's wrong with you, brother, isn't that what I'm doing, trying to protect you? Don't worry, I've just warned your class that they won't dare to bully you in the future. Yang Lin was serious. All right. Anyway, what shouldn't be said has been said, you can go back now. Chen Haoxian said to Yang Lin. Go back? Why go back? I'm not going back today. I'm taking a class with you. I'm just trying to bond with you. Otherwise you'll say we don't know each other well again. Yang Lin Dao, then he turned his head and said to his younger brother, you all go back. After Yang Lin's little brother left, Yang Lin very gossipy asked Chen Haoxian, brother, didn't Zhou Kexin like you? Why don't you go spend time with him? She's sitting over there all by herself, it's lonely. Chen Haoxian knew, feeling that he, Yang Lin, was here to ask about him and Zhou Kexin. I don't like him, why should I sit with her? Look at her pitiful, why don't you go over there and accompany her, maybe it's not impossible for her to take her own life once she's moved. Chen Haoxian Dao. If she likes me, don't tell me to sit with her, I'd be willing to die, because she's a rare beauty anyway. Oh brother. Listen to me, cherish the present. Yang Lin sighed. Yang Lin was right, Zhou Kexin was really pitiful right now. She was sitting alone at the end of the classroom, she was sitting on the right, and Chen Haoxian and the others were sitting on the left. Chen Haoxian and the others were lucky to have 3 people to discuss some things to relieve boredom, but Zhou Kexin was alone, and there was no one else around. The first thing you need to do is to take a look at the lollipop drawer and see that there are a lot of lollipops. It wasn't from Chen Haoxian, it was from those suitors of hers. There are so many envelopes in the drawer, maybe some of them are from Chen Haoxian. Zhou Kexin with great anticipation opened the envelopes one by one in the drawer. She opened the envelopes not to look at the contents, only to look at the end of the letter paper to leave a name. The first thing you need to do is to look at the entire envelope, and you won't find Chen Haoxian's, her heart is lost. A drawer full of lollipops, what should she do with them? Throw it away or give it away, forget it? Joe Coxon's mind was dark. Joe Kexon took all the books out of her bag, then put the lollipop inside her bag and walked out of the classroom with her heavy bag. She was passing a girl who used to sit with her wonderfully. The girl suddenly asked her, "Kexon, it's almost time for class, and you're still going out?" "I don't know who gave these lollipops, what era is it to give lollipops, I am now going to throw them in the trash can in front of the classroom." Joe Kexon grumbled. He Haoming, who was not far away, heard Joe Kxin's words and spoke out, "Kxin, don't you like eating lollipops? Why are you still throwing away these so good lollipops?" These lollipops were also sent by him Haoming. He saw like everyone else that Joe Kexon had cried like that yesterday, and one lollipop from Chen Haoxian made her stop crying. So what did this prove? Didn't this prove that Joe Kexon liked lollipops a lot? When did I say I liked lollipops? Joe Kexon gave He Haoming a blank stare and didn't look good. Yesterday, Chen Haoxian gave you a lollipop and you still ate it so well. He Haoming asked with a questioning face. The one he gave me was 1,000 RMB a piece, could it not taste delicious? Besides, I like Chen Haoxian, so whatever he gives me to eat, I'll find it delicious. As for the ones you guys gave me, humph, they look like cheap goods. Joe Kexon was smiling when she talked about Chen Haoxian, but when she talked about He Haoming and the others, she was furious, and that was the difference between people. Knowing the truth, Chen Haoxian and Chen Yuna were lying on their desks laughing non-stop. A 50-cent lollipop said that it was 1,000 RMB, which only Joe Kexon would believe. "What are you guys laughing at? Is it okay to tell me?" Yang Lin was curious. "I'll tell you, but you can't tell anyone." Chen Haoxian chuckled. He felt that it wasn't an important secret to tell Yang Lin. "In fact, the lollipop I gave her yesterday was only 50 cents a piece. I lied to her that it was 1,000 RMB, I didn't expect her to really believe it, he. Chen Haoxian laughed at Yang Lin. "Ha ha ha, brother, I've finally seen you clearly now, so you're a deep and hidden love master, even a beautiful girl like Joe Kexon has been deceived by you." Yang Lin laughed. The lollipops that He Haoming and the others gave her can be some expensive lollipops, it's a pity to throw them away. You guys wait, I'll go over and ask for them. Chen Haoxian said and stood up, walking towards Joe Kexon. Joe Kexon was still chatting with the girl. Even when Chen Haoxian walked behind her, she didn't even notice. "Joe Kexon!" Chen Haoxian, behind Joe Kexon, suddenly shouted. Joe Kexon turned around, probably because she was too close to Chen Haoxian, and she bumped into Chen Haoxian's arms as she turned around. Chen Haoxian was afraid that she would fall, so he quickly hugged her small waist, and the two of them were going to be as warm as their posture would allow. "Are you all right?" Chen Haoxian smiled and asked. "No, nothing." Joe Kexon squeaked, her face flushed, her heartbeat quickening, and she felt the warmth of Chen Haoxian's embrace, a strange feeling. Chapter 14. It's fine. Chen Haoxian let go of the hand that hugged Joe Kexon. Joe Kexon shyly lowered her head, not daring to look at Chen Haoxian. "That it's a pity to throw away those lollipops you're holding, so why don't you give them to me?" Chen Haoxian was a bit embarrassed. "Oh, you take it?" Joe Kexon even handed Chen Haoxian his bag along with his own. "Thank you." Chen Haoxian was not polite and received Joe Kxin's bag, then walked back to his seat, and after dumping all the lollipops in Joe Kxin's bag into the drawer, he walked back to Joe Kxin and returned the bag with a smile. When Chen returned to his seat again, Yang Lin raised his thumb to Chen and said admiringly, "Awesome. Taking someone else's bag of lollipops and still taking advantage of them, worthy of being a master in the love scene." So. Chen Haoxian smiled faintly. So during class, Chen Haoxian and the three of them were all eating lollipops, and Chen Yuna was listening to the class carefully with one lollipop in her mouth. But Chen Haoxian and Yang Lin, the two of them were just like children. They ate lollipops with one mouth and then threw them away, and they were still discussing in high spirits which lollipop was delicious. Jo Kexin has no interest in the class. She has been secretly paying attention to Chen Haoxian. She envies Chen Haoxian and the others are so happy. She also wants to be like them and eat lollipops and chat. Chen Haoxian accidentally noticed Jo Kexin looking at him. Jo Kexin immediately turned her head and pretended to be listening to the lesson very seriously when Chen Haoxian found out that she was looking at him. Yang Lin also noticed Jo Kexin's situation, and he enviously said to Chen Haoxian, "Brother, you are really a lucky man. A beautiful woman like Jo Kexin is still clinging to you after being rejected by you. Who knows if she's pretending? Besides, with that personality of hers, I don't want her even if she's a stunning beauty, but it's still possible to have to come and warm the bed once in a while." Chen Haoxian smiled. Yang Lin had never been in contact with Chen Haoxuan before, but he had heard a lot about Chen Haoxuan. He knew that Chen Haoxuan was a timid and not very smart person, but today he talked to Chen Haoxuan and found out that Chen Haoxuan was simply a very smart person, with more guts than him. At least Chen Haoxuan dared to go and hug Jo Kexin while he didn't. He thought the same as Jo Kexin and the others, thinking that the old Chen Haoxian must have been acting crazy. After class, Yang Lin dragged Chen Haoxian to the stairway outside the classroom to smoke. Chen Yuna didn't like the smell of smoke, so she didn't follow. At this time Zhu Tian, who was wearing a turban on his head, came up from downstairs. He was wearing a turban because Chen Haoxian had smashed his scalp yesterday, so he used it to bind the wound and prevent it from getting infected. Since Chen Haoxuan was leaning sideways against the wall, Zhu Tian didn't notice Chen Haoxuan. He smiled and waved to greet Yang Lin when he saw him. "Brother Linear. Zhu Tian, come over here, I have something to say to you. I'm warning you, ha. Don't bully Chan Ho Hin anymore, okay? Because he's already my brother." Yang Lin waved a warning to Zhu Tian. Chen Haoxuan turned around, and when he saw Zhu Tian, the corners of his mouth curled up in an evil smile as he said with a faint evil smile, "Zhu Tian, have you forgotten what I said yesterday?" Hearing Chen Haoxuan's words, coupled with Chen Haoxuan's evil smile, Zhu Tian pulled his legs out and ran. The moment yesterday when Chen Haoxuan shot him with a brick was still fresh in his mind. He didn't want to mess with Chen Haoxuan's devil again. Seeing Zhu Tian suddenly turn around and run, Yang Lin could not help but shout loudly, "Hey, Zhu Tian, what are you running for? I didn't say I was going to flatten you." Yang Lin thought that Zhu Tian was scared off by him, but he didn't know that Zhu Tian was actually scared off by Chen Haoxuan. "Maybe if you're gentle, he won't run away." Chen Haoxian joked. "I'm on the Dao, so what would be gentle about that? Let's not talk about him, brother. I'm going to treat you to a drink tonight. How about, give me some face?" Yang Lin said to Chen Haoxuan. "No, I still have to go as a tutor." Chan shook his head. "No. Tutor, go be an S. It's only $100 a day as a tutor, you might as well hang out with me." Yang Lin was oxymoronic. "Then how much money can you make in a day?" Chen Haoxuan asked curiously. "Helping people to visit the casino, 1,000 a day is not a problem. If you help people to sell flour, drugs, and so on, you can earn even more. I have a record of earning 100,000 RMB a day. How about that? Consider hanging out with me." Yang Lin was proud of himself. "I make about 10,000 a day as a tutor, and compared to yours, mine is obviously better, because mine is not dangerous and my job is stable. Unlike you, you have money to spend when you have something to do, you starve when you have nothing to do, and you are always in danger. You could be cut or jailed by the police." Chen analyzed. "Being a tutor earns about 10,000 a day, you think your professorial grade up?" Yang Lin looked as if he didn't believe what Chen Haoxuan said was true. I'm teaching several students at the same time, so of course my income is high. Chen explained. Oh, no wonder you've started wearing name tags. Yang Lin envied. Chen Haoxian he was wearing a knockoff name tag, but Chen Haoxian didn't go to explain, wouldn't it be better if he didn't recognize it? Why bother explaining to make people despise you? On this day, both Chen and Chen Yuna didn't have classes in the afternoon, so they went home as soon as they got out of school in the morning, and after eating the lunch that Chen Yuna cooked, Chen started to take out those herbs that he bought yesterday and process them. And Chen Yuna took some parts from the small factory that needed to be processed by hand and sat on the side working. Brother Xian, what are you doing? Chen Yuna curiously asked Chen Haoxian. Keep it a secret, in a month or so, you'll know. Chen Haoxian mysteriously said, he was making a cure for the pimples on Chen Yuna's face, making this medicine was a bit troublesome, and he needed to wait for him to ferment and then extract him with something that was often used in chemical experiments. Brother Xian, my classmate said that there will be a heavy rainstorm in a few days. Do you think we should take advantage of the clear sky now to go out and buy more food and come back, so that it won't be inconvenient to go out when it's storming? Chen Yuna suggested. Well, then we'll go to Mr. Wang's house in the evening to finish our tutoring and then buy whatever we want when we come back. Chen Haoxian Deo. Dividing line. In the women's dormitory at the University of New Hill, Jo Kexon is looking at her cell phone and pampering herself. Auntie, I'm your own niece, so let me in alone. The phone came out. No, your dad is hosting this gathering, so in order to make it more lively, everyone is required to bring a partner of the opposite sex, and if you don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend, fake ones are fine, otherwise even your dad won't let you in. Chapter 15. All my friends are women, who do I go to? Or I won't go, you guys go. The first thing you need to do is to take a look at the newest version of this article. You're going even if you're not, because your dad wants you to find a boy you like at the party. A serious voice came out of the phone. All right, all right. I'll think of something. What a way to help me arrange everything, as if you're afraid I won't be able to marry, huh? Jo Kexon exhaled in exasperation. I forgot to tell you that your suitor, He Haoming, will also come. There was a message from the phone that Jo Kexon didn't want to hear. Hanging up the phone, Jo Kexon tangled with her friend Hua Lingwei. Why Wei, what should we do? My aunt asked me to go to my dad's party tomorrow night and said I have to bring my partner or I won't be allowed in. I don't want to go, but my dad is going crazy and insists I go. What should I do? Where am I going to find a boyfriend? Sitting on the bed, Hua Lingwei smiled. Mia. I can dress up as a woman so we can both go. You. Jo Kexin looked at Hua Lingwei. Hua Lingwei's breasts were bigger than all of hers, and even if you took a cloth and tightened her breasts, it was easy to tell that she was a woman. Jo Kexin shook her head and said, no, your breasts are too big, it's not like a blind man can see them. Then what should we do? Hua Lingwei was torn. She was going to the party hosted by Jo Kexin's dad, but she accompanied his dad, so she didn't have to worry about not getting in. Jo Kexin's dad was different. Her dad was with her mom, and her aunt was with her aunt's husband, so it was like she was extra and had to figure it out on her own. She actually could have just anyone, but she wanted to save face and was afraid that people would laugh at her if she found just anyone to go with her. What do you say if I get Chen Huan to come with me? Jo Kexin was excited. She didn't know what was going on, but when he was considering which boy to ask to go with him, the first thing she thought of was Chen Haoxian. But yes, but will he say yes? You know he even rejected your confession. Hua Lingwei was skeptical. You'll die if you don't mention the confession. Jo Kexin gave Hua Lingwei a glance. Her confession to Chen Haoxian had become a stain in her life. She didn't want to hear anyone say anything about it. Every time she mentioned it she would be sad and aggravated. All right, all right. I won't say anything. There's nothing to be angry about. Well, you go and talk to him tomorrow, and if he doesn't, you'll give him some money, for money's sake, I'm sure he'll agree. Hua Lingwei suggested. The next day, Zhou Kexin and Hua Lingwei went to the entrance of Xinshan City University early. They were waiting for Chen Hoxuan. When they were about to go to class, they finally saw Chen Yuna, who had been with Chen Hoxuan all day, but they didn't see Chen Hoxuan. Before Chen Yuna came over, Zhou Kexin couldn't help but ask loudly, "Chen Yuna, where is Chen Haoxian? He has something to do, he won't come to class today." Chen Yuna said indifferently. She didn't like how Zhou Kexin mentioned her brother Hen. "Where is he now? I have something for him." Zhou Kexin asked. "I don't know." Chen Yuna was selfish, thinking that she simply wouldn't tell her Xian brother that he was home if he didn't like Zhou Kexin anyway. "Then give me his cell phone number." Zhou Kexin was determined to find Chen Haoxian and get him to go with her to her dad's messy party. "Brother Xian doesn't have a cell phone, so if you want to find him, just wait until tomorrow. It's almost time for class, I'm leaving first, bye." Chen Yuna said and stopped paying attention to Zhou Kexin. Hua Lingwei stepped forward and said to Zhou Kexin, "Kexin, have you forgotten that all the students' information is in the school's li?" She didn't say anything, probably because she was afraid that you might steal her brother Xian. "Let's go to the school and ask for Chen Hoxuan's information." "Yeah. Why didn't I think of it? It's still our Vivian who is smart. Let's go to the principal's place." Zhou Kexin was happy. After asking for Chen Hoxuan's information from the president of Xinshan City University and finding the house where Chen Hoxuan was living outside, Zhou Kexin and Hua Lingwei both went to find Chen Hoxuan according to the address. Passing through a high-rise daxia, they came to a small village on the wrong side of the road. "So it's a small village near our school." Hua Lingwei was excited, the village she had seen on TV but had never been there. Could she not be happy now that she saw a small village? It was almost as if she had discovered a new world. The village has no house numbers, so Zhou Kexin and the girls can only look for Chen Hoxuan everywhere in the village, and every time they pass a house, they will sneakily look inside to see if Chen Hoxuan is inside. This makes a lot of villagers believe that the two girls are thieves. A man even scolded Zhou Kexin them 2 sentences, saying that they are young, not good enough to learn to steal. "If you like it, hold on tight, there are a lot of girls in our village who are hitting on him." "I don't like it, she does." Hua Lingwei joked, pointing at Zhou Kexin. "Why wei, I'll get angry if you say that again." Zhou Kexin slammed her face and exhaled at Hua Lingwei. Arriving at the place where Chen Haoxian lived, the man shouted loudly to the house, "Little Xian, are you there? Someone is looking for you." After a while, Chen Haoxian walked out, and when Chen Haoxian saw that the people looking for him were Zhou Kexin and the others, he was shocked. "Zhou Kexin, Hua Lingwei, what do you guys want with me?" "Chen Hoxuan, I would like to invite you to go with me to a party hosted by a business person." Zhou Kexin spoke out. "A party? No, no, no. I'm busy. You find someone else." Chen Hoxuan refused without even thinking about it. Hua Lingwei whispered in Zhou Kexin's ear, "I guessed right? If you invite him to go, he will definitely not go, but if you pay him to go, he will definitely go." Hearing Hua Lingwei's words, Zhou Kexin really said to Chen Haoxian, "Even if I invite you, the price is up to you." Chen Haoxian really considered it. He was really short of money now. He lived in a poor place, the food was poor, there were no electrical appliances at home, there were no mobile phones on his body, and Chen Yuna's family was so difficult. He wanted to help her. "What's the maximum you can give?" Chen Hoxuan decided that if Zhou Kexin offered a high price, he would go. Chapter 16. 1,000 RMB, is that okay? Zhou Kexin spoke out. When Chen Haoxian heard this, he turned around and went back to his house without saying a word. 1,000 RMB. This is too much to look down on him. He is at least the chief professor of the future century, at least he will open more than 10,000. Joe Kexon saw Chen Hoxuan turn around and walk away, so he was very curious and asked after him, "Hey, are you going to answer or not? You're deliberately humiliating me." Chen Hoxuan didn't turn his head back. Joe Kexon turned his head and asked Hua Lingwei with a questioning face, why did he say that I was humiliating him?" Hua Lingwei gave Joe Kexon a glance and said, "You're silly. It's not even clear that he's disliking the price you've set too low." Joe Kexon understood after hearing Hua Lingwei's explanation, so she pulled Hua Lingwei's hand and walked into Chen Hoxuan's home. When Zhou Kexin and the others saw how shabby Chen Haoxian's place was, they couldn't help but open their small mouths and look very surprised. It wasn't that they were fussing, but they had never seen such a shabby home before. "Chen Haoxian, have you always lived in this place?" Hua Lingwei spoke out to Chen Hoxuan. "Yeah. I've lived here for over a year, is there a problem?" Chen Hoxuan, who was processing herbs, did not look up. It's been living that long. Looks like your life has been pretty bad." Hua Lingwei muttered. Seeing Chen Haoxian living in such a poor place, Zhou Kexin's motherly love came out and she wanted to help Chen Haoxian. "Chen Haoxian, I've thought about it, I'll pay 10,000 RMB to rent you for one night, is that okay?" Zhou Kexin smiled, she felt that her price was already very high, after all, the average staff member couldn't make that much money in a day. Chen didn't say anything, as if he didn't even hear her, and continued to do his business. "You say something." Zhou Kexin exhaled. "Kangzhen, he still thinks you're offering a low price." Hua Lingwei reminded. "What? 10,000 yuan or less? It's a job that's not even that high for a white collar, let alone just one night." Zhou Kexin exhaled. At this time, Chen Hoxuan spoke out and said indifferently, "My current job is tutoring, and I can make around 10,000 in 3 hours while teaching a few students. And if you ask me to go to a party with you, I'm likely to be made difficult by those suitors of yours, so it's fine if you want to invite me, but you have to give me at least 50,000 RMB. Don't think that this 50,000 is expensive either, because when the party comes, you'll know what it means to get your money's worth." Zhou Kexin frowned, she felt that the price Chen Hoxuan offered was really too high. The most important thing was that she didn't have that much money, she only had 10,000 RMB a month and her monthly pocket money wasn't enough to spend. How could she take out that much? So Zhou Kexin thought of Hua Lingwei beside her, and Zhou Kexin turned her head to Hua Lingwei and said, "Wei, can you lend me 40,000 RMB? We're sisters, of course we can." Hua Lingwei patted her plump chest and was very righteous. Hearing Hua Lingwei's promise, so Zhou Kexin said to Chen Hoxuan again, "Okay, I promise you, if you accompany me to the party my dad is holding today, I'll give you 50,000 RMB. That's a good feeling, go ahead. When are you going?" Chen Hoxuan smiled, never thought he came to the 21st century so appetizing. Others working hard couldn't earn that much money, but he easily earned it. "Tonight at 7 p.m., you wait for me at the school's entrance, I will drive to pick you up." Zhou Kexin was happy. "Okay," Chen Haoxian's expression understood. After Zhou Kexin and Chen Hoxuan talked, she didn't go back, but instead, the two of them and Hua Lingwei were visiting the house where Chen Hoxuan lived, and even took pictures. Zhou Kexin arrived at Chen Hoxuan's room, and saw the neat clothes hanging on the hangers, the quilt folded in the shape of a tofu on the bed, and all the things in the room placed very neatly, as if they hadn't been touched at all. "Wei, look, I never thought that Chen Hoxuan is such a cultivated person, the room is even more neat than mine." Zhou Kexin envied. Actually, Chen Hoxuan didn't have all that spare time to tidy up his room. The reason his room was so neat was because Yuna Chen had helped him make it. "I feel like this person Chen Hoxuan is becoming more and more mysterious. Hua Lingwei exclaimed. I feel the same, he's such a good person, how could he keep burying himself so deep? Zhou Kexin sighed. After Zhou Kexin and the others finished admiring Chen Hehuan's house, they came to Chen Hehuan and looked curiously at the busy Chen Hehuan. What are you doing? Zhou Kexin asked curiously. Making medicine. What kind of medicine? So don't ask, because I won't tell. Chen Haoxian faintly said. He didn't want Zhou Kexin and the others to know that he was making beauty medicine, otherwise they would definitely ask Chen Haoxian to make some for them as well. After all, which woman didn't love beauty, especially a rich girl like Zhou Kexin and the others? Humph, who cares to know? Zhou Kexin exhaled, her mouth said so, but her eyes kept looking curiously at the busy Chen Haoxian. Zhou Kexin and the others hadn't gone back at noon and had stayed at the place where Chen Haoxian lived. It was noon, and it was time to eat, so Chen Haoxian had no choice but to cook for the three of them. When Chen Haoxian was cooking, Zhou Kexin and the others were very active, helping to wash vegetables and rice and dishes. Although Chen Haoxian rarely cooked, it didn't mean that he was not good at cooking. When Chen Haoxian was cooking, Zhou Kexin and the others were watching, looking at how cool Chen Haoxian was cooking, which made them think to themselves, this man is simply a woman's nemesis. All right, bring over the plates. Chen Haoxian spoke out. Oh. Zhou Kexin felt like carrying a snow-white dinner plate and placing it next to Chen Haoxian. Chen Haoxian had made 3 dishes and 1 soup, which was the standard for his previous meals. The fragrant dishes were brought to the table, and Chen Hehuan made a big show of doing it at the table. He handed the empty bowl to Zhou Kexin and said, help me load my rice. Oh. Zhou Kexin really agreed. If He Haoming was here to see Zhou Kexin being used as a girl by Chen Haoxian, he would definitely find Chen Haoxian to fight for his life. How could he treat a beautiful woman who needed a man to hurt her like this? Hua Lingwei also handed her bowl to Zhou Kexin, smiling, Kexin, I want it too. But Zhou Kexin did not give her face at all. Zhou Kexin gave Hua Lingwei a glance and squealed, you have hands and feet yourself, you can't pretend yourself. A sexist, Hua Lingwei pursed her small mouth, dissatisfied. Chapter 17. When Zhou Kexin and the others tasted the dishes cooked by Chen Haoxian, they could no longer maintain the image of a lady. They were like martial arts masters, sandwiching dishes that speed, so Chen Haoxian were surprised. He also secretly exclaimed in his heart, the human potential is sometimes really terrifying. Chen Haoxian didn't cook much, 3 dishes and 1 soup. He regretted it. He thought that the 2 girls wouldn't eat much. Because in his eyes, girls were born to control the amount of food they ate so as to maintain a perfect figure. But he didn't expect these 2 women, so fierce, they were able to get all 3 dishes in 3 bites, while he had only eaten 1 or 2 bites. Chen Haoxian looked at Zhou Kexin and the others dumbfoundedly. I said, how long has it been since you guys ate? Zhou Kexin and Hua Lingwei looked at the empty plates on the table and bowed their heads in embarrassment. Hua Lingwei smiled shyly and said, who let you cook so delicious? I think it's because you guys haven't eaten anything for years that you think my cooking is delicious. Chen Haoxian joked. The food was gone, but it was good that there was still soup, so Chen Haoxian poured himself some soup to eat with his rice. It's just a little bit of your food, isn't it? Is it worth saying that about us? Cheapskate. Zhou Kexin exhaled. Chen Haoxian did not reply, no longer eat, probably soup are gone, because she heard Hua Lingwei's voice drinking soup, that heroic ah. Even Chen Haoxian couldn't drink the sound of the gulp. After finishing their meal, Zhou Kexin and the others finally wanted to leave, as they wanted to go get ready for the party tonight. But Chen Haoxian was not willing. He forced them to wash the dishes before letting them go. He was so angry that Kexin pointed at Chen Haoxian and said, you are not a gentleman at all. But didn't expect Chen Haoxian to reply her, in the evening, I will show you a real gentleman. Chen Haoxian smiled mysteriously. After washing the dishes, Joe Kexon and the others were finally liberated. 2 hours after they left, Chen Haoxian left his place. He needed to buy clothes. He just had an extra 50,000 RMB in his bank account, which was called by Hua Lingwei. Now that he had money, he could finally buy designer goods. He wasn't picky, a tight black designer suit would do, but the quality had to be very good. In addition, Chen Haoxian also bought a watch, a very plain watch. Chen Haoxian also liked to smoke cigars, so this time a cigar was essential, and when he appeared on the street fully dressed and holding a thumb-sized cigar in his hand, he caused a big stir. The glossy white face, penetrating with angular cold handsomeness, dark and deep eyes, overflowing with charming color, thick eyebrows, high nose, stunningly beautiful lips, all of them exude nobility and elegance. Together with the fact that Chen Haoxian is now in a neat and tidy black tight-fitting suit, looking over to be as spiritual as possible, holding a cigar in his hand, this makes Chen Haoxian's charm to the extent of being loved by everyone. Look, that man is so handsome yo. The two young girls who came over couldn't help but speak from their hearts after seeing Chen Haoxian. Yeah. I don't know if he's the big star, but why don't we go ask him for a group photo? Another young girl, excited. The two young girls rushed to Chen Haoxian like dragons and said in a delicate voice, "Handsome man, can we take a picture with you?" Of course. Chen took a deep breath and slowly exhaled a wisp of pale blue smoke. The wonderful fragrance of the smoke lingering in the air was enticing. With Chen's consent, the two young girls used their cell phones to take more than 10 pictures with Chen before letting Chen leave. These two teenage girls should have been happy to leave, but why did they leave in a lost state? It was all because Chen Haoxian was poor. He didn't even have a cell phone. Two young girls asked him for his cell phone number. Chen Haoxian said he didn't have a cell phone, so these two girls thought Chen Haoxian disliked them and didn't want to make friends with them. At the entrance of Xinshan City University, a beautiful figure was walking back and forth there, muttering, "This dead man, why isn't he coming yet?" This person was Joe Kexon. She came at 6 o'clock and waited until almost 7 o'clock, but Chen Haoxian hadn't shown up yet, which made her want to get mad a bit. At this time, a black shadow appeared in the distance. The shadow was slowly and leisurely approaching Joe Kexon. When Joe Kexon saw what the shadow looked like, she immediately cursed out, "Dead Chen Haoxian, stinky Chen Haoxian, why did you only come now, causing me to wait for you for an hour, angry, angry." Chen Haoxian faintly said, "Do you see if it's after 7 now?" Joe Kexon really took out her phone and looked at the time, and found that it would be 10 more minutes before 7 o'clock, although Chen Haoxian was not overdue, but she was still unsettled. She felt that boys should arrive at the appointment earlier, in order to appear as a gentleman of boys. You, as a boy, should arrive half an hour earlier, because that's what a gentleman does, but you didn't show up on time. Aren't you deliberately angry with me? Joe Kexon exhaled. Chen held his head high and said, "Look at the changes I've made. It's not just that, hey, you bought new clothes, and you're wearing a watch and new shoes. Not bad, really handsome, much more handsome than a big star." Joe Kexon used a very appreciative tone after discovering Chen Haoxian's change. Chen Haoxian walked to a Ferrari parked on the side of the road, pulled open the back door and smiled at Joe Kexon, "My beautiful princess, get up and get in." Chen also made a very gentlemanly gesture, which made Joe Kexon feel like he was dreaming. Joe Kexon got into the car naturally, and after Chen Haoxian closed the door behind him, he sat on the driver's seat and turned his head to Joe Kexon, "Where are your car keys? You can drive." Joe Kexon asked in surprise. She originally thought that Chen Haoxian just wanted to put on a cool show, but she didn't expect him to ask her for the car keys. She wouldn't dare to give them to him because she had heard that Chen Haoxian couldn't even ride a bicycle, let alone drive a car. "You bring the car keys over, I'll let you see if I can drive or not." Chen Haoxian knew that Joe Kexon was despising him. Although Chen Hoxuan used to be the chief professor, he was also a billionaire because the things he researched could not be measured with money. So like those rich people, he also played with antiques when he had nothing to do, including the 21st century cars. He collected as many as hundreds of cars, not to mention that he was a person who could even drive a spaceship. How could he not drive a car? Zhou Kexin pulled out the keys but didn't give them to Chen Huan, instead both hands protected the keys in his bosom. Also don't know if it was a hint to Chen Huan to go over and touch her breasts. No give. Zhou Kexin was serious. Don't give it, right? Chen said. His left hand suddenly grabbed Zhou Kexin's chest. Actually Chen was grabbing the key. Ah dash dot. Zhou Kexin screamed, her hand lost control for a moment, and the key fell into her alluring neckline, as if it was caught in the RU hook. Chapter 18. Ah dash dot. Chen Hoxuan screamed after seeing that the car keys actually fell into Zhou Kexin's collar. He really didn't mean to, he just wanted to grab the car keys. Zhou Kexin probably thought that Chen Hoxuan wanted to molest her, and quickly protected her chest to death, but she was so forceful that she squeezed her rabbit and changed its shape, which was even more tempting. Chen Haoxian scratched his head, very embarrassed smile. Oh, that I did not mean to, I just want to go to grab the key. Who knows, will the key will fall into that. Zhou Kexin heard Chen Hoxuan's words, shyly lying on the seat, head does not dare to look up, too ashamed. What he is holding fell into his own RU groove, and also in the face of a boy, falling in. You just don't be shy. What have I not seen before? It's just 2 balls, right? Hurry up and give me the keys or you won't make it to your dad's party. Chen Hoxuan joked. 2 balls, she actually used balls to describe her, always proud of her Xiangfen. It was too bullying. But Zhou Kexin was angry, but she still took the car keys out of her RU groove. She took them with her back to Chen Haoxian. She handed the keys to Chen Haoxian. No good, here, if you can't drive, you'll carry me to the party, huh? Carry you? I might as well carry a car. Chen Hoxuan was very uncomprehending. Angry at Zhou Kexin, who kept nuzzling behind her, she secretly said, wait until the party, see how I'll make you look bad. Zhou Kexin originally wanted Chen Hoxuan to fight for her face, but Chen Hoxuan repeatedly teased her, which made her change her mind. Woo, Chen Hoxuan started the engine, put it in gear, gas, and the Ferrari let out a roar and raced ahead. Ah dash, Chen Haoxian, crazy. Can't drive and still drive, stop. Zhou Kexin shrieked. Don't be afraid, I've never made a mistake driving. Chen Hoxuan smiled faintly. You've never made a mistake, that's because you've never driven a car before. Chen Hoxuan, stop. Zhou Kexin said loudly. In his heart, Chen Haoxian said, oh no, forgetting that I'm from the future. Chen Hoxuan still ignored Zhou Kexin's petulant scolding, and after a long time Zhou Kexin hadn't heard the sound of the crash before looking carefully outside the car. Suddenly Chen Hoxuan violently hit the steering wheel, and the Ferrari made a beautiful drifting turn. The sound of the crash still didn't ring out. Zhou Kexin was dumbfounded. Chen Hoxuan's driving technique is much better than hers. After driving for a while, Chen Hoxuan suddenly stopped. Zhou Kexin could not help but ask curiously, why did you stop? Chen Hoxuan answered her, making her very speechless, I don't know where your dad is having a party. Zhou Kexin really wanted to scold him, don't know and you're driving without even asking. I'll point the way, you drive. Zhou Kexin looked like he was hating the iron. After driving for 20 minutes or so, Chen Haoxian and the others reached their destination. This was a villa. This villa was not used to live in, but specifically used for some rich people to hold parties and other wants. Chen Hoxuan got off first, elegantly walked to the back of the car, opened the door, and reached out to help Zhou Kexin out. I can't believe you really have the taste of a gentleman. Zhou Kexin took an appreciative look at Chen Hoxuan and smiled. Hua Lingwei, who was already waiting at the door for Zhou Kexin, saw Joe Kexon coming and trotted over. "Kexon, why are you only here now? I made my father stand for a whole 20 minutes to wait for you, and if you hadn't come I think my father would have left me and run off alone. Not him yet, if he hadn't been late, I would have come." Joe Kexon pursed her lips and grumbled. "Beautiful Miss Vivian, I'm sorry that my negligence has caused you and Uncle to suffer so much, and for that, I'm sorry to say to you, I'm sorry." Chen Haoxian also saluted afterwards. Is this Chen Haoxian? Why have you suddenly become such a gentleman?" Hua Lingwei was confused. "It's true, he said he wants to show me today what a true gentleman is." Joe Kexon cryptically laughed. Hua Lingwei's father, Hua Tianyu, came over. He asked Joe Kexon curiously, "Kexon, this boy is your boyfriend, right?" Not bad, really good, looks like a talented person and also polite." Hua Tianyu said 3 not bad in a row, and seemed to be very satisfied with Chen Haoxuan. "Thank you uncle for the compliment. Out of courtesy, I'll introduce myself first. My name is Chen Haoxian, I'm in the same class as Kxin." Chen Haoxian was very polite. Chen Haoxuan began to chat with Hua Tianyu. The two of them unknowingly chatted about business. Hua Tianyu heard Chen Haoxuan's views on business and was very interested, so he told Chen Haoxuan all the problems that he couldn't solve, and Chen Haoxuan also gave face to Hua Tianyu and told all that he knew. Our two beauties, on the other hand, were left out by Chen Haoxian and the others. Hua Lingwei tugged on Joe Kexon's skirt and whispered, "Kexon, do you have the feeling that Chen Haoxuan is actually very good, and to be honest, I kind of want to chase after him now?" Joe Kexon listened to Hua Lingwei's words, turned around and tightly grabbed Hua Lingwei's hands, nervously saying, "Why Wei, you can't like him, he's nothing, your father won't let you marry him." "I said I like him, I didn't say I'd marry him, why are you nervous? You're not really in love with Chan Ho Han, are you? That's why you're so nervous, right?" Hua Lingwei smiled. At this time, from afar, Kxin, Wei, why are you guys still here? It's already started inside, so why don't you go inside quickly? This was Joe Kexon's sister-in-law, Zhou Xiaoyan, at the entrance of the villa, shouting loudly. "It's coming." Joe Kexon echoed, and finished walking next to Chen Haoxuan, pulling him away. Hey Dash, Coxon, what's your hurry? Let me talk to your boyfriend again." "Your boyfriend's advice was very useful to me, get rid of it." Hua Tianyu pleaded to Joe Kexon. Chen Haoxuan's knowledge of business really opened his eyes. He didn't think business could actually be done this way. "What's there to talk about? To talk when the party is over, I don't care if you talk forever," Joe Kexon said, pulling Chen Haoxuan into the villa. Hua Tianyu walked up to his daughter and asked her curiously, "Why Wei, is Chen Haoxuan taking a rich kid?" Hua Lingwei laughed as she chuckled to her dad, "Dad, I'm telling you, don't tell anyone yo, but Chen Haoxuan is actually rented by Kexon." Chapter 19. A rental? That's ridiculous, isn't it? Hua Tianyu was surprised. Renting a house, renting land, renting a car, he has heard it all, he has never heard of renting someone. He, Dad, what is so surprising about this? What would be impossible in this era now? Kxin, she rented Chen Haoxian was also forced to do so, because the party her dad held required a partner of the opposite sex to get in, plus she didn't want people to look down on her and didn't want those suitors to annoy her, that's why she paid a high price to rent Chen Haoxian for one night. Hua Lingwei explained laughingly. High price? How much? 1 million or 10 million? Hua Tianyu asked curiously. After the short contact with Chen Haoxuan just now, he decided that Chen Haoxuan was a business genius. That's why he suspected that Joe Kexon had spent more than $1 million to rent Chen Haoxuan. Hua Lingwei stretched out her right hand and opened her 5 fingers. 5 million. Hua Tianyu saw his daughter holding out 5 fingers, so he guessed. Hua Lingwei smiled and shook her head. Ah dash, Kexin actually spent 50 million RMB to rent Chen Huan for one night. That's too expensive, isn't it? Hua Tianyu was surprised. He had wanted to rent Chen Hoxuan for a few hours like Zhou Kexin, so Chen Hoxuan could talk to him about business knowledge, but now it seemed that was impossible, because he couldn't afford to spend that much money. Hua Lingwei couldn't hold back any longer, bent over, hugged her stomach and laughed. Ha ha ha, Dad, I'm really impressed with you. You can even think of a rental price of 50 million RMB. If I tell you how much Zhou Kexin spent to rent Chen Hoxuan for one night, then you won't die of shame. You dead girl, is that how you talk to Dad? Quickly tell me, how much did Zhou Kexin pay to rent Chen Hoxuan for one night? Hua Tianyu was impatient. Hua Lingwei stretched out her adorable paw once again and said with a smile, 50,000 RMB. Ah dash, 50,000 RMB to rent a commercial genius for one night. KXIN's luck is too good, right? Hua Tianyu envied the tone of his voice. My good father, let's go in first and I'll take my time to talk to you in more detail, okay? Hua Lingwei said, pulling her dad into the hotel villa. In the hotel villa, as soon as Zhou Kexin and Chen Hoxuan entered, they were quickly surrounded by a large group of people. In fact, they only wanted to pester Zhou Kexin. It was just as if Chen Hoxuan was stuck with Zhou Kexin, unable to squeeze the two of them. Kexin, you're so beautiful today. Kexin, you're here. I've been waiting for you. Maybe I'll ask you for a dance later? Kangxin. One by one, the people surrounding Zhou Kexin kept speaking to Zhou Kexin. Zhou Kexin suddenly felt a bunch of annoying flies surrounding her, so she pinched the tender flesh of Chen Hoxuan's waist with her small hand. When he came here, he had already agreed with Chen Haoxian that he would pretend to be her boyfriend today, and after today, he would announce that they had broken up. So she pinched Chen Haoxian because she was hinting at Chen Haoxian to do the duties that a boyfriend should do. Chen Haoxian knew what Zhou Kexin's pinching him meant, so Chen Haoxian smiled to the people surrounding Zhou Kexin. Everyone, I'm sorry, my girlfriend likes to be quiet, please understand. Those surrounding Zhou Kexin were dumbfounded after hearing Chen Hoxuan's words. Even Hua Tianyu's father and daughter who had just entered were dumbfounded. Wasn't it rented to block the suitors? How's that for real? Hua Tianyu was alarmed in his heart. He Haoming was also here today, but he didn't surround Zhou Kexin like the others because he saw Chen Hoxuan next to Zhou Kexin. When he heard Chen Hoxuan's words, the corners of his mouth curled up in a sinister smile. He was thinking, you guys want to come for real, don't you? Then I'll make it work for you. Ho Ho Ming stood up and said loudly, I don't think you guys look like lovers. If you are, then tongue kiss one. Yeah. You guys kiss one to show us, or we have the right to pursue Kexin. The people surrounding Zhou Kexin just yelled at each other, each one of them demanding a tongue kiss between Zhou Kexin and Chen Hoxuan. Who do you guys think you are? Just let us kiss, huh? Zhou Kexin frowned and exhaled, yelling at the people surrounding her. A big fat man who must have weighed over 200 pounds looked sincere to Zhou Kexin. Kexin, I know you hate people pestering you all day long, and I also know you hate me for being fat, and it's your right to hate us, but we like you, and it's our freedom. You said this man is your boyfriend, so you kiss him and show us, you're a couple anyway, what's there to be afraid of? Right? Coco, if you kiss him, we promise not to pester you. The others chimed in. You guys dash, huh, kiss it? Zhou Kexin was so mad at her pursuer that her mind was confused. Zhou Kexin turned around, raised her head, looked like she was at the mercy of Jun Kaija, blushed, and said to Chen Hoxuan, kiss me. Chen Haoxian slowly stretched his head over, and when Zhou Kexin thought that Chen Haoxian was about to kiss her, she suddenly heard Chen Haoxian say something that was enough for her to hate Chen Haoxian for the rest of her life. Chen Haoxian whispered to Zhou Kexin, kissing you is fine, but add another 10,000 RMB to it. If it wasn't for so many people watching, Zhou Kexin might have picked up her bag and smashed Chen Haoxian. Now Zhou Kexin is equivalent to in the middle of the steps, want to go up, Chen Haoxian does not cooperate, want to come down and no excuse and no one to give steps to let him down. The first thing you need to do is to get your hands on the neck of Chen Haoxian, and then stand on your tiptoes to kiss Chen Haoxian. Zhou Kexin succeeded, and her surprise attack took away Chen Haoxian's first kiss and gave away her own first kiss as well. Zhou Kexin didn't have a kiss and didn't know how to kiss, so she kept her lips on Chen Haoxian's lips and just kept spending time like this. Chen Haoxian didn't move either, he was still struggling with something. He was thinking, have you suddenly kissed me and promised another 10,000 RMB to me or not? Oh, my coxswain really got with someone else, oh, I'm sad, I want to leave this sad place. The big fat man who had just seen Zhou Kexin really kissed Chen Haoxian bawled his eyes out and turned to leave. Hua Tianyu turned his head to his daughter and asked, Wai Wei, didn't you say that they were a fake couple? Why are we still kissing? Hua Lingwei put her hands together and shook her head, I don't know, the only way to find out is to ask Kxin herself when the party is over. After answering her dad's words, Hua Lingwei continued to look at Chen Haoxian and Zhou Kexin who were kissing with envious eyes. Honestly, she envied Zhou Kexin because Zhou Kexin knew what it was like to kiss and she didn't even know it yet. She didn't know what was going on in her mind, but the idea of trying to kiss Chen Haoxian appeared, and the idea scared her herself. Chapter 20. Chua. Looks like your daughter found a nice boyfriend. A middle-aged man with a rich face and a big belly smiled at the person next to him. This person was Zhou Kexin's father, Zhou Xiang, the founder of the Zhou clan, who was one of the richest men in Xinshan city. Alas dash, a woman is too big to stay. She will eventually leave my side one day. Zhou Xiang sighed, look at his expression is so reluctant, but his heart but very happy, because he has been anxious for his daughter to find a boyfriend. Her daughter are 20 people, never had a boyfriend, and never said that boy handsome, that boy good. This makes him have to be anxious. On this party most of the purpose is to let his daughter find a boy he likes. If you just look at the looks, Zhou Xiang is satisfied with Chen Haoxian to be his son-in-law. Chen Haoxian's temperament he is also satisfied. The only thing he wants to know now is Chen Haoxian's family background. On Chen Haoxian's side, Zhou Kexin finally let go of Chen Haoxian. She turned her head and squealed to those suitors who hadn't left yet, see. I kissed him, he's my boyfriend and I'm his girlfriend. Zhou Kexin was like this, what else could he say, so those people surrounding Zhou Kexin left with a sense of humor. When those suitors left, Zhou Kexin finally couldn't help but squeal to Chen Haoxian, what did you mean by that just now? What do you mean? Chen Haoxian questioned. It's the thing where you say kissing you is fine, but you have to give you 10,000 RMB. Who do you think you are? It costs 10,000 RMB for a kiss, and it's a beautiful girl like me kissing you, and you take advantage of it, and you dare to ask me for money. I told you Chen Haoxian, I kissed you, but I just don't pay, so what? Zhou Kexin exhaled. Alright. I know the price I'm offering is a bit high, how about 5,000 RMB? Chen Haoxian held out 5 fingers. Chen Haoxian, I hate you to death. Zhou Kexin was now completely angry. In fact, this was not a matter of money at all, but a matter of dignity. She was, no matter how she said it, she was the flower of the University of Xinshan City. Even if her kiss was worthless, it was still not to the point of losing money, and it was still losing 10,000 RMB, which was the salary of an ordinary person for several months. Zhou Kexin left with her anger. She ran towards the garden of the villa. Hua Lingwei saw it and chased after her. She couldn't understand why Zhou Kexin left Chen Haoxian alone and ran away on her own. Chen Haoxian looked at the back of Zhou Kexin's departure and said to himself, is 5,000 yuan still expensive? Why is this rich girl so stingy? Zhou Kexin left. Chen Haoxian was alone, there was no one he knew in here, even Hua Tianyu who he had just met was talking to someone else. The first thing you need to do is to take a look at the product and find out if it's a good product. Chen Haoxian wanted to eat alone, the others didn't agree, who let him just be so popular. When he and Zhou Kexin kissed just now, all the people in the hotel villa saw it. Many young girls were bewildered by Chen Haoxian's good looks. It was the first time they had seen such a handsome boy, so handsome that he could be described as beautiful. This was not, as soon as Zhou Kexin left, the young girls who had been waiting for a long time, gathered at the place where Chen Haoxian was. "Handsome boy, can you tell me, what's your name?" A voluptuous young girl sat next to Chen Haoxian and asked Chen Haoxian. Without even thinking about it, Chen Haoxian replied, "My name is Chen Haoxian. Can I call you Brother Xian?" On the other side of Chen Haoxian came another young girl. This young girl looked to be only 16 or 17 years old. Chen Haoxian was very rude as he ate and replied, "Whatever, you can call your husband." This was what Chen Haoxian thought in his heart. Anyway, Zhou Kexin wasn't there and ignored him, so he didn't have to pretend to be a gentleman anymore. Hubby. I didn't expect that young girl to actually shout. Dash, what did you just shout at me? Chen Haoxian spewed out all the food that hadn't come to be swallowed in a hurry, and he surprised the young girl who had just called out to his husband. The 16 or 17-year-old girl very actively hugged Chen Haoxian's arm and said in a delicate voice, "Yes. Didn't you tell them to shout just now? Honey." Zhou Kexin this side, at the moment she is endangering a lawn, squatting on the ground, uprooting a poor little grass, not even leaving the roots of life, cruel to the extreme. I made you ask me for money, I made you ask me for money. Zhou Kexin kept repeating one sentence, and with each sentence, a blade of grass was uprooted. "Kosin, so you ran here. What's wrong with you? Why did you suddenly leave Chen Haoxian behind and run out?" Hua Lingwei, who had finally found Zhou Kexin, asked curiously. Zhou Kexin stood up, turned around, and exhaled, "It's still not that dead Chen Haoxian. Those suitors of mine said they didn't believe Chen Haoxian was my boyfriend, but also insisted that we kiss before believing. I was forced to let Chen Haoxian kiss me, and as a result, you know what he said." "How so?" Hua Lingwei asked very curiously. "He said that kissing you is fine, but you additionally give me 10,000 RMB. Don't you think it's infuriating? That's my first kiss, yeah, and I'm giving it away. I'm letting him kiss me cheaply, and he's doing this. I'm the daughter of the Zhou group of Xinqian City, the flower of the University of Xinqian City. I don't know how many men want my kiss. Didn't he think of taking advantage of me at all?" Zhou Kexin exhaled and explained. "God." Hua Lingwei was speechless. How could she have never thought that Chen Haoxian was such a money-loving boy that he even wanted to take advantage of someone else and pay someone else? "Then why did you end up kissing him? You're not going to promise to give him another 10,000 RMB, are you?" Hua Lingwei questioned. "Well, that was when I kissed him forcibly, and then he tried to ask me for money, so I got angry and ran out. I made up my mind that if he asks me for money again, I'll cut him off." Zhou Kexin exhaled. "Strong kiss, wow dash, Coxon, you've turned into a horny girl now. But when you say you're done with him, it's like he's not even your friend, right?" Hua Lingwei. "Vivian, can't you be a little less sarcastic? I'm like this, you should comfort me." Zhou Kexin was pitiful. But Hua Lingwei's words reminded her that she and Chen Haoxian weren't even friends right now, because friends couldn't use rent, they could only use help. "Kexin, let me ask you a question." Hua Lingwei was a bit embarrassed. "What kind of question?" Zhou Kexin faintly said. "What did you feel when you and Chen Haoxian kissed?" Hua Lingwei blushed her little face and asked expectantly.